Namaste. So let's start our class today in a comfortable supine position in our relaxation. So take a moment here to get comfortable resting on the earth. Bring awareness to the lower back, just sensing how that feels today and deciding whether you prefer to have the legs extended all the way out in front. Feet slightly wider than hip width apart and sink the little toes out to the top two corners of the mat. Or bend the knees, place the soles of the feet onto the floor. And to encourage the chest to open, the shoulders to relax. So you can have the arms resting alongside the body, palms facing upwards. Or take a bend in the elbows and just cradle the lower abdomen with the hands, and of course, just allow your eyes to close. Just beginning to arrive in your body today. And just letting go of your week so far. Anything that's caused you any stress or unease. Or maybe a feeling of being unsettled. Just letting all of that put away into the background so we can spend some time here today bathing in the experience of this present moment. Gently scan all the way from the tips of your toes all the way up to the crown of the head. Observing the physical self right here, right now. And then escort awareness to your breath. This vital thread that connects the outer world to the inner landscape. Just observing here the rise and the fall of the belly as you inhale and as you exhale. So poses in our yoga practice which require us to balance offer potent real-world benefits. Physically, balancing teaches us to tap into the deep muscles that coordinate the separate parts of the body into an integrated whole. Mentally and emotionally, working on our balance helps us to develop a keener focus, as well as the ability to keep an even keel, despite the inevitable wobbles that arise in life. Very carefully, very slowly, and in the next breath or two, we're going to come into a lovely full body stretch. So if the knees are bent, start to extend the legs all the way out in front. And from here, we're going to either raise our fingertips up towards the direction of the sky, or if it's comfortable, through the shoulders. Take the arms all the way overhead and start to enjoy that stretch all the way from your fingertips down through the hands, the wrists, the arms, through the whole length of the body, the sides of the body, into the lower back, legs, ankles, feet. Releasing the arms from wherever they may be. And then bend up the knees, place the soles of the feet onto the floor. Ensure that we're keeping some space in the lower back, so around the lumbar spine or sitting bones. Place the feet hip width apart, heels in line with the knees, and take a moment here to adjust through the whole length of the spine. Soften and releasing shoulder blades down into the earth. You have the arms resting alongside the body, palms facing downwards, or maybe you prefer to take the arms all the way out to the side so you're getting that real feeling of space through the body. We're going to come into some rotation for the spine, windscreen wiper in the legs. So with the knees to centre, inhale here. As you exhale, take both the knees over towards the right so the left lower back comes off the mat. But just be mindful here that you don't force the knees down to the floor. Inhale, bring the knees back to centre, and as you exhale, take the knees this time all the way over towards the left, not forcing the knees down, but noticing this time the right lower back coming off the mat. And continue this slowly, carefully with your own breath. If it feels good just to rest a little bit longer on either side, then please do so. Starting to get a massage through the belly, that nice rotation around the spine, so keeping the vertebral discs, the muscles, tissues and ligaments that surround the spine mobile, fluid, squeezing out through the belly, and possibly feeling that into the top of the hips. And after your next exhale, allow the knees to come back to centre, so straightening up through the whole of the spine, the lumbar spine. Adjust how the back body feels here. Tuck the chin in. From here, we're going to draw the knees up high over the chest. Take a bend in your elbows and just take your fingertips to your lower belly. We're going to come into some deep core abdominal work here. So start to knit the front ribs back. Drawing the front ribs back down towards the earth. It's a feeling as if you're gathering in around the belly. Keep that in mind as you start to guide the knees away slightly. We're taking a right angle through the knees so that the calf muscles are parallel to the mat. We've got the toes pointing up towards the sky. So keep that gathering in around the belly, and then from here release the fingers from the belly. Extend the arms all the way up so the fingertips are towards the sky. And then soften and release the shoulders back down towards the earth. So coming into our yogic bicycles. Inhale here. As we exhale, start to straighten out the right leg in front of you and hover that right leg about an inch above the mat. Inhale, bring that right knee back. And then as you exhale, repeat on the left side. So continue to do this with your own breath. Keep releasing around the shoulders, around the neck, around the jaw. And if it's too much for the belly today, too much for the front of the thighs, just take a break. Draw the knees in towards the chest. Let's do a few more here. Let's make that our last one. Great. Hug the knees in towards the chest. just gently rock from side to side, massage out the belly, the lumbar spine into the front of the hips there. And the knees back to centre. Separate the fingers, so you're going to cut the kneecaps with the palms of your hands. Right hand on top of right knee, left hand on top of left knee, fingers pointing down towards the toes. And start to circle each knee out to the side, then drawing back to centre. So enjoying how this feels as we start to stretch and open through the hips. Waking up the hip flexors, massaging the lower back, the kidneys, working up into the shoulders. Taking these circles to where it feels comfortable for you today. And change direction of your circles when you're ready. Bring the knees back to centre, hug the knees in and gently rock from side to side. Knees come back to centre, raise your right arm up, keep that right arm elevated as you roll all the way over onto your right side. Just resting your head on that raised arm for a moment. Then allowing yourself to take a little full inhale and a little full exhale. Slowly, carefully bring some mindful attention into your left fingers, your left hand. When you're ready, push down into that hand. Use that hand to steady yourself as you come all the way up. So we're going to come into our easy pose into Sukhasana. Take your yoga block, or if you have a cushion from your settee, that will suffice. And just decide the best position for your hips and your legs. Maybe today the legs feel better extended all the way out in front. Just be mindful of the hamstrings. Take a rolled up blanket or towel to prop the back of the thighs. Or come into a comfortable cross-leg position. Take a moment to adjust through your sitting bones on top of the block. We're looking for a nice, even, and neutral pelvic bowl. Release the arms and hands alongside the body, or if you wish, take a bend in the elbows and place the back of your hands onto your lap. And as we start to just root down through our sitting bones, arrange comfortably on top of our block or of our cushion, we can start to bring some integrity to the spine. So just observing the spine lengthening, the shoulders softening and releasing, and the chest opening. They're extending all the way up through the neck, up through the crown of the head. We're going to bring some awareness to the position of the breath in the body. So if it feels comfortable, close the eyes. And just slow the breathing down. Let's take 3 counts on our inhale. 3 counts on our exhale. And you can continue with that slowing down on the breath. Maybe just doing that a couple of times and then returning back to your normal breath. Observing the whereabouts. Maybe the breath feels like it's down in the belly. Maybe a little higher today, up around the neck, up around the jaw. Just observe, no right or wrong. And then very much thinking that as we inhale, it's an opportunity really to open the chest and deepen the breath. And as we exhale, so every exhale is an opportunity to release. After your next exhale, just bring awareness back into the room, back onto you, seated in this position, start to blink the eyes open, allow a little light to start to filter back in. As your awareness comes back to you, come back to your body sitting in our Sukhasana. It may be evident that we need to change the cross of the legs. Or if the legs are extended out in front, maybe you want to come into cross legs. Doing whatever feels comfortable, but ensuring that the sitting bones are nice and comfortable on top of the block. We're still able in the spine to lengthen, the shoulders to soften, the chest to open. Just rest the fingertips alongside the body. As we inhale, let's start to flip the palms up towards the sky. Let's draw the air all the way up through the body. As we exhale, palms touch, bring the hands all the way down to heart space. Let's do a few more of those nice and slowly. Inhale, flip the palms up. Draw the air all the way up through the fingertips, up through the body. Reach and lengthen it through the sides. Palms touch, exhale down. Let's do another 3. This is our last one. Palms touch, exhale all the way down to heart space. Take a moment here, allow the breath to return. Let's come into a spinal twist here. So release the back of your hand to your left knee or your outer left thigh if you have your legs extended out in front. And then take the fingertips on your left hand behind. So as we take that arm behind, just be mindful that the ribs don't start to turn. So take the left hand behind, guide your ribs back to center. Inhale here, lengthen. As we exhale, rotate all the way round towards the left. Draw the chin in, keep breathing, keep lengthening. Inhale here, lengthen. As you exhale, guide the ribs back to center. Let's swap the arms around, so the back of the left hand to the outside of the right knee, palm facing upwards. And then taking that right hand behind, so fingertips behind you. Be aware if you need to bring the floor a little bit higher, so have the fingertips maybe resting on a book. But watch the ribs, bring the ribs back to center. Inhale here, lengthen with the ribs to front as you exhale. Push into those sitting bones, find your rotation all the way around towards the right. Draw the chin in, keep breathing. Inhale, lengthen. And as you exhale, slowly, carefully guiding the ribs back to center. Release arms and hands. We're going to come off our block or off our cushion. And we're going to come into gate pose, Parigasana. So you will need some padding for the knees. So have your blanket ready, folded in a way that's going to provide adequate padding for the knees. And also please remove socks unless you've got your special yoga sticky socks on. You need to place yourself in the middle of your mat and find a comfortable high kneel. We're going to look down at the knees. The knees are directly underneath the hips. And very much as we were sitting in our Sukhasana, as we root down, we can start to lengthen through the sides of the thighs, the waist, the side body, the shoulders. And we're going to step out with our right foot. So it's really important that your right foot still remains on the mat, it's not sliding off, and you want to push down into the outer edge of that right foot. Squishing down into the little toe edge, lifting the inner arch to make this right leg nice and strong, and then check this left knee's comfortable. Going to raise up the arms, release the shoulders, palms towards the earth. We're going to come into a flow, and then we're going to come into a static Parigasana gate pose. So release the shoulders away from the ears, inhale here. As you exhale, tip the left fingers towards the left side of the mat, maybe the fingers reach the mat. Inhale back to center, exhale right hand to right thigh. So carry on with this slowly, carefully. Really challenging the muscles around the abdominal, around our back. And strengthening the legs through to the hips, which helps with our balance. Stimulates all our internal organs, the lungs, and it lengthens the sides of the body and the spine. Inhale. Exhale. Come back to centre, release the arms. Keep that right leg extended, then take the right hand down the outside of the right thigh, palm facing upwards, and reach up nice and tall with the left arm, fingertips towards the sky. Inhale here. As you exhale, take your side bend over towards the right. Trying to bring that inner left arm as close as you can to the left side. You've got a couple of options here. Keep your gaze towards the centre, turn your gaze over towards the left. Ensure you're keeping breathing. Inhale. As you exhale, come back to centre. Release the arms, stepping carefully with that right knee, right leg. And let's get ready to do that the other side. So step out with the left foot. And just as we did on our first side, squish down into the little toe edge on that left foot. We squish down so we can lift the inner arch and make that left leg nice and strong. And check the right knee feels comfortable. Raise up the arms, release the shoulders, palms towards the earth. Inhale to centre. Exhale, right fingertips towards the right side of the mat. Maybe they reach the floor. Inhale, come back to centre. Exhale, left hand to left thigh. Take the right arm up and over. And continue. Inhale. Maybe it's a little bit trickier on this side. Maybe it seems a little bit easier. Just observe. Coming back to centre. Release the left hand to the top of the left thigh, palm facing upwards. Reach up nice and tall with the right arm, fingertips towards the sky, but release that shoulder down. Inhale here, lengthen. As you exhale, take your side bend over towards the left. Sliding that left hand down the top of the left thigh. Getting the inner right arm, upper arm as close as you can to the right hand side of your head. Keep your gaze neutral and turn your gaze over towards the right. Keep breathing, don't hold the breath. Inhale here. As you exhale, coming all the way up, releasing that left knee and finding your child's pose. Sink the hips down towards the heels. Mount the belly, mount the chest all the way down. Straighten out the arms in front. Take a moment to catch the breath. Inhale here. As you exhale, slowly, carefully curling the spine all the way up. We're going to get ready to come into a small flow involving our downward facing dog. So remove anything from your mats and find your way onto your tabletop position. So spread the fingers apart. Press down into the pads of the hands, inner elbows in towards one another. Your knees are hip width apart. And you're going to push the earth away to create that space between the shoulders and the ears. And just sense that lovely long length through the spine you're creating, up through the neck, up through the crown of the head. So our flow involving downward facing dog is as such. We're going to inhale here. As you exhale, we're going to tuck the toes under and come up into your downward facing dog. You're going to inhale, come back down onto your knees, uncurl the toes, exhale down into child's pose. Continue, inhale, exhale. Inhale, uncurl the toes, exhale down into child's pose. So we're not going to take a slightly longer downward facing dog after this. But by all means, if you want to hang out a little bit longer in any part of this flow, then please do so. Be mindful of the wrists, be mindful of the knees. Thinking about when you come into your downward facing dog to just draw the navel in towards the spine. Now I know I always cue it, and I think maybe I take it for granted that you'll always do it. But there's a lot to remember when we come into these poses. So if that's just helps you as a reminder to draw the navel in towards the spine, then that's super. Let's do a few more here. We'll meet you back in child's pose. Sink the belly, sink the heart. Bring movement back into your wrists, hands and fingers. Circle the wrists, move the fingers. Inhale here. As you exhale, slowly, carefully uncurling all the way up. We're going to come back onto our all fours position. We're going to hold downward facing dog for a little bit longer with an option to come into three-legged dog if you want to. So spread the fingers, inner elbows in towards one another, pushing the earth away. Check the knees and check the navel in towards the spine and that length that you're creating through the spine, up through the neck, up through the crown of the head. When you're ready, keeping the navel in towards the spine, tuck the toes under. Let's come up into downward facing dog. So draw the ribs towards the thighs. Keep relaxing through the neck and the head. Maybe it feels more comfortable for you to bend the knees today. Let's walk the dog here as you lightly tread each heel down towards the earth, just stretching out through the backs of the legs. Come back into your static downward facing dog. If you want to take a break, come down into child's pose. If you want to come into three-legged dog, shift the weight to the right foot. Lift up with that left leg. Keep breathing. Release the left foot down. Walk the dog a couple more times. Come back into your static downward facing dog, and if you wish, shift the weight to the left foot. Reach up with that right leg. Take a bend, release that right foot down. Let's walk the dog one last time.
Keep the knees bent, look towards your hands, taking as many steps as you need. Walk the feet towards the hands, hands towards the feet as we come into Uttanasana, our forward fold. A couple of options here. Keep the knees bent if you need to. You can take the hands onto the shins or round the back of the calves. You can take your hands to the inner elbows and make that lovely box shape out of the arms. As you draw the chest towards the thighs, but release totally through the neck and the head. And gently rock from side to side as you're making that box shape. If you're rocking from side to side, come back to centre. Release the hands onto the shins. Press down into the feet, start to stack everything up. So keep the knees bent. Keep fingers, hands and arms heavy. Watching blood pressure, looking after the back. The last thing to come up will be your neck and your head. And then you're able to straighten through the legs. And able to straighten through the knees. Come to the middle of your mat. You're going to find your brick or your small A4 or your small book. You're going to place your yoga brick on its lowest setting, or have your small book on in the middle of your mat. And we're going to come to standing on the brick or your book with your left foot. So we're going to do some work here to really target those core abdominal muscles around the back as well, tops of the legs, and that will help us as we go through our balance poses, the next couple of poses we've got for class, but also in everyday life. So start to straighten up the leg on the left side, and as you do that, I want you to lift your right leg to match the height of your left. So what we're doing here, without us really even noticing, is that we're starting to cinch in around the waist. We're starting to gather in, and we're gathering in around here, but also around the thighs to lift up that right foot to mirror the left. So keep that in mind as we're gathering in around the belly, and try and release through the arms and the shoulders as much as you can. So this is a real challenge for the balance. If you happen to be near the wall, hold on to a wall if you need to. What we're going to try and do is just start to take the right foot backwards and forwards, just not too far. Slowly, carefully, keep gathering in, drawing in, cinching in. Maybe you need a little bit more height if you're practicing it on your hard back books. Maybe 2 or 3 books on top of one another, but just be careful that they're not together, so they might wobble a bit. Just be mindful of that. And from here, let's see if you can start to circle through that right leg. It might help you to point the toes. If you're doing this properly, you'll start to feel it in the outer left thigh. So just check that you can. That's really working hard around this area. Change the direction of your circles. Controlled and slowly. Watch the shoulders aren't reaching up around the ears. And then come back to centre. From here we're going to go into a bent leg Digasana. So start to bend through the left knee and take the right leg behind. And then straighten up through that left leg as you bring the right leg back to centre. Let's do that a couple more times. Keep gathering in, keep cinching in. Really important as we come forward that we don't sort of sink down into that left hip. So we keep gathering around here, building that core strength. Maybe a bit wobbly today, or maybe okay. Good. Be our last one. And then we're going to bend through the left knee, take that right leg out to the side. Keep gathering in. Super. Right, let's come off of your book, off your brick. Let's just shake out the feet and the ankles, and we're going to try that on the other side. Coming onto your books or your brick, standing on that pile with your right foot, and we're going to start to cinch in, gathering around the belly as we bring up the base of that left foot to reach the height of the right. So we've got a nice level pelvis. Just take your hands onto the front of the pelvis and feel that. Release the hands, release the shoulders, and start to take that left foot backwards and forwards. Slowly. Remember to gather. Start to feel the outer right thigh switching on. And seeing if we can circle through that left leg. Change direction. Come back to centre. Let's come into our bent leg Digasana. So keep gathering in, cinching in around the waist. And start to bend through the right knee as we take our left leg back. Straighten up, you come back to centre. Remember to hold on to the wall for balance if you need it, if the side's a bit more trickier. If this part of the sequence is a little bit more trickier. Try and improve our balance by strengthening our core muscles. Take a bit of practice. Let's make this our last one. Good. Then we're going to bend through the standing leg and take that left leg out to the side. Feeling it here. Nod if you can feel it. Super. Let's make this our last one. Step off the book or the brick carefully. Shake out through the feet and the ankles. So our final standing pose is tree pose, Vrikasana. And we're going to come into the start of this pose by finding a good Tadasana, so the feet directly underneath the hips. And just spread the toes so you can feel the connection to the earth of the toes, the four corners of the feet. And as we start to root down, start to draw that Pada Bandha energy all the way up. So that helps to bring the energy up, helps to activate the legs, lift the kneecaps, thighs are nice and firm, pelvis neutral. The activation goes through the length of the spine, the side body, up through the neck, up through the crown of the head, release the shoulders. And just as we stand here, we start to feel a little bit more grounded, a little bit more centered. Just start to think of our feet as roots of our tree. Vrikasana is tree pose. And how important they're going to be really for this balance pose. The basis of this pose is connection with our feet into the earth. Start to shift the weight into the left foot and take a bend in the right knee. And open up through that right hip as you take the right knee all the way out to the side. And then just draw that right heel a little bit closer so it just rests on the inside of the lower left shin. So we're going to keep the legs at this position, in this position. And then from here we're going to bring the hands to heart space. Release the shoulders. So find your drishti point, something that you can help, something that helps with your balance and your concentration. Maybe a spot on the floor in front, maybe something on the wall. Keep breathing, keep concentrating. From here, you might want to lift the foot up a little bit higher, below or above the knee. The choice is yours, but not on the knee joint. That doesn't suit me today. A little bit lower for me today. And then from here, you can grow the branches of your tree. If you wobble, don't worry, you're a tree in the wind. And just thinking about that sensory awareness through the feet. Helping us just to spread the toes, lift the arches. Inhale here. As you exhale, release that leg, release the arms. Let's try that on the other side. good Tadasana. Thinking about the connection of the toes, lifting the inner arch, activating through the legs. Activation comes through the rest of the body, the spine, the side of the body, up through the crown of the head. Shift the weight into the right foot, bend up the left knee and take that left knee all the way up to the side. And then just walk the left big toe a little bit closer so you can rest your left heel on the inside of the right shin. Good start. Bring the hands to heart space, release the shoulders. Take a moment here, find your drishti point. Maybe sliding the foot up a little bit higher, below or above the knee. You can keep the hands here or you can grow the roots of the tree. Breathe in, balancing. Smiling. Inhale here. Bring the hands all the way down. Release that leg. Well done. Take your hands onto the hips, bend the knees. Draw your hip circles. Change direction when you're ready. Back to center. Release the hands. Straighten the legs. We're going to come all the way down to seated. We're going to come into our final balance pose. We're going to come into boat pose, Navasana, where we're going to be balancing on our sitting bones. So first of all, come into a comfortable seated position, but bend the knees and just draw the heels a little bit closer in towards your sitting bones as you would normally. And take your hands to your shins, just below your knees. As you do that, just start to draw in around the belly, lengthen through the spine, crown the head towards the sky. We're going to see if we can balance on our sitting bones. So keeping that gathering in, see if you can lift the toes off the floor. So this might be enough today. That's fine. This is enough. Just release back down. It might be possible as you keep gathering in around the belly and lifting through the spine, just to straighten out the legs a little bit more and release the hands. It might be possible to straighten the legs a little bit more. Good. When you're ready, bend the knees, lower the head, come into your seated child's pose, forehead on the back of your arms. Inhale here. And as you exhale, come all the way up. Let's get ready to come into our final Shavasana. Taking a moment to put on socks and jumpers. Have a blanket for warmth. A moment to find a comfortable Shavasana as you arrange through the feet and the legs, arms and hands. And as you make your way into Shavasana, take a moment to check in with your physical body and your energy levels and how you're feeling now. Noticing any transformation that may have occurred. Any balance, integration. Bring awareness to your back body resting on the earth. As you exhale, can you sink a little deeper here? Allowing all doing to dissolve. Feel an emptying of yourself, of doing until all that is in your awareness is simply being. When your world moves too fast and you lose yourself in the chaos, introduce yourself to each colour of the sunset. Reacquaint yourself with the earth beneath your feet. Thank the air that surrounds you with every breath you take. Find yourself in the appreciation of life.
Very slowly, very carefully, just start to bring awareness back into the room, back onto your body, resting on the earth. Allowing movements into hands, fingers, feet and toes, circling through the wrists, circling round through the feet and the ankles. And just as how we started our class today, if you want to take the arms up and overhead, stretch out through the body, finding that stretch from your fingertips down through the hands, wrists, arms, the whole length of the body, into the legs, feet and toes. Release the arm. Start to bend up the knees, hugging the knees up over the chest into a lovely self-embrace. And gently rocking from side to side. Come back to centre, raise your right arm up. Keep the arm elevated as you roll all the way over onto your right side. Just resting your head on that raised arm. Allowing yourself to take a little fuller inhale and a little fuller exhale. Start to bring awareness into your left fingers, your left hand. Slowly, carefully, very much in your own time. Take weight into that hand. Use that hand to steady yourself as you slowly, carefully push all the way back up to seated. Thank you so much for joining me in class today. I hope to see you very soon. Thank you. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste.